Welcome to the Pop-Off with Gene FitzMagic and friends. Your daily sports and entertainment radio show, live all over the world. You're going to want to hear what these guys have to say. With their hot takes, recaps, previews, and predictions, sometimes these guys might get along, but most times, they won't. So see what happens when these guys pop off about the world of sports and entertainment.
Good afternoon. It is Friday, May 19th, our getaway day of the week. And coming back finally, my man Nigel in the house, and we got Joey D as well. Both guys were at, well, Nigel's been playing hooky for the last couple of weeks, and Joey D's back after missing last week. But you guys are back. And I got to tell you, I don't even know if I approve of this cap that you got on today, because my Yankees spanked him. Aaron Judge himself spanked him.
Yeah, I know. And there was a lot of there's a lot of inner turmoil about wearing this one because I knew I was going to get heat from you. However, I'm going to skip ahead. The only reason why I'm wearing this Sangria colorway, the Sangria Jays colorway, is because it's the closest I could get to the Denver Nuggets jerseys from last night's game. Son, that navy blue and red with the gold trim, one of my faves in the league.
It was a good game. It was too. A nice comeback from Denver. So we'll get into that. You know what? We all know Matt Hamilton. We all love Matt Hamilton, as surly as he can be about his sports team. So I had to send him a bunch of IG posts with Aaron Judge home runs. And as Pat loves to do, Pat always loves to play something with Toronto losing when Matt's on. Matt's on here, so we don't need to rub it into Nigel. Nigel is too nice. He's a nice Canadian. Matt's a surly Canadian, so we like to rub it in with Matt. But guys, so big week in sports. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. We're almost at the finals. We're at the conference finals right now. I do want to say one thing before we get into our sports talk. I do want to say, guys, I know when we first started the show, there was going to be some entertainment involved, and it kind of just went just sports. As we lose Joey D, I'm sure he'll be right back. So we decided to there was so much sport news. We didn't have time to really add in the entertainment news. So we are going to have an entertainment show. As people may have seen Katrina on a bunch of shows on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. She's not going to do the sports. She is going to be doing a special show where it's going to be just entertainment. It's going to be me, her, and as some people may have seen Panda on our Friday episodes, him as well. So it's going to be me, Katrina Johnson, and Panda. We're going to be doing just entertainment on one day a week, probably Tuesdays. And it won't be any sports. It'll be just entertainment, pop culture kind of stuff. So it'll be that'll be the show where we can find that. So and I do want to shout out, I don't ever really talk about the Disney side. We have the Disney side. I do Disney podcasting and stuff as well to me, it's a lot of fun. I'm a Disney freak, as some would say. So I do want to shout out Panda, because Panda, who also is a huge Disney influencer, has invited me to come work on with him on his channel. It's a 100K channel, so I'm super psyched about it. The guy's doing what he's doing, and so I'll be over with Panda on his channel, Big Fat Panda. So if you guys aren't subscribed there, if you're Disney fans at all and you're not subscribed, then go check it out. He's got a lot of great content. He's been a little bit on hiatus on his page because he worked with a different company. Now he's starting to rebrand his own brand as well, and I will be over there with him. We're bringing a whole bunch of stuff over there too, so make sure you guys check that out. And with that, now we can partake in some sports. That's what we're here for. So Nigel, let's again, I don't know what happened to Joey. So Joey may have lost his internet. We'll find out until he comes back. Me and you can talk about some of the recaps. We'll go over Miami Boston first, since that was a couple days ago. Yeah, man. I texted you about it after the game. You're right. Hydra lives on. They are here in the Eastern Conference Finals now. This is the fifth team in league history to win all three game ones on the road of the first three series of a postseason. Knicks actually did it in '89, I believe. So the Knicks actually were one of those five teams. But you've called them Hydra from minute one, from I think the first win in Milwaukee, game one. And you keep getting proved right. Before we get into the stats of this game, what's your take on what these guys are doing, man?
Listen, I hate it. I hate it so much, my guy. It's so demoralizing when you're right. You know what I mean? But my take is that Spoelstra's the man. There's no. I don't know how he can't be the center of this conversation. Yeah. Yes, I get Jimmy buckets. I get playoff Jimmy. We all understand that, but without the man with the plan in front of that or behind the scenes, you wouldn't have this playing team who has literally dominated or took all the lower seeds or higher seeds to the ends of the earth and back again and end up winning. Like you can't. The only way you can say that is their floor general, man. The coach, the guy on the bench. Spoelstra is just the man. He's got everybody's attention. He's made sure that they're running the plays. Their defense has been fantastic for the most part.
Yep.
Throughout the whole series. I mean, they're one of the only series that has continuously been like under the hundreds. Sometimes it goes above, but it's been really close. It's been in the 90s or the hundreds, like really low game. I don't know what else to say, man. Again, you cut one head off, another one's gonna pop up, and that's what they've done. It's crazy.
And you know what's crazy about it is you see a lot of the teams now have two stars, some have 3 stars. This is Jimmy Buckets and supporting cast. Yeah. This is Jimmy Butler and supporting cast. It's not Jimmy Butler and a star. It's Jimmy Butler and like also rans or guys that journeyman like Kevin Love coming in with a key bucket here and there. Kyle Lowry coming back from the dead, having a key bucket here and there, and just being a smart little court general. Struess hitting clutch threes, Vincent hitting clutch threes. Like these guys that weren't supposed to be here. And again, he's going up against a team with 2 top players, all NBA team players on their squad, and they came out and they win game 1. They did the same thing. They were up against in Milwaukee. They went up against Giannis, and then the next round they had Brunson to go against with Randall, and Randall's the story for another day. But it is what it is. He's an all NBA player, and they went through those teams like it was nobody's business. And again, it's Jimmy Butler and the rest. It's not Jimmy Butler and this guy. It's Jimmy Butler and the rest. It's a bunch of guys that aren't supposed to be doing this with Jimmy Butler. That to me is the most amazing part of it. And if you look at what they did yesterday, the day before, 6 Heat in double figures. Now Boston also had 6 Celtics in double figures as well, but it just shows you that the team that wasn't supposed to be as deep is deeper than we thought. And you know what? For a team that wasn't that great at the 3-point shot in the regular season, 51% game 1, 35% from 3 for Boston. They got guys doing it that weren't doing it in the regular season. That's scary. That's scary.
Yeah. And what you've mentioned too, like, Jimmy and the rest of the cast, it doesn't even, at this point, it doesn't even matter because now it's just like, they're just a unified squad. And you just know that Jimmy obviously will lead the charge, but there's been plenty of times where he's been minutes out and hasn't scored a bucket. And it's just been like going around the horn with the whole squad. And Laurie did what Laurie does, man. He stepped up. Now he has been probably the most inconsistent. However, again, you cut that head off and another person.
But Larry, he's done things that don't make it to the stat sheets. He's doing like listen, and I hate it, but it's worked. He'll flop at the right. He knows when to flop. He knows how to make it look legit. He knows how to work the refs. He knows how to work the court. Stuff that don't necessarily show up in a stat sheet. He's good at doing. He's doing right now for this team. Just smart IQ basketball.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like when I say he's been inconsistent, I'm strictly talking about points. Yeah, like nothing else. Because other than that, I mean, he has been exactly what you said, Gene. He's been that guy that has been a motivator in other avenues and other aspects of the game that's just not on the stat sheet. And I mean, I've said this before about a couple teams, but the Heat, this is indicative of them. It's when you score, right? And Caleb has said that a bunch of times too. It's like when you score, man, like that's the most important part of the game. It's not how you do it. I mean, it can look good, but it's when you do it. And Miami has just been doing it more often than anybody else. And it's been big buckets, man. Yeah.
And you know what? I know I took a little bit of a beating on Game 7 of Boston and Philly, which and you were pretty much at if there wasn't a better place than the Garden to watch that, the Boston Garden. I don't know if it's the Boston Garden anymore. I think it's TD. What is it?
TD Garden, yeah.
TD Garden. If there's a better place, if there's any other place after that, that's the best place in the world to watch it. You were watching it at it because we spoke about it. You were actually at the world-renowned Cheers bar watching that game. So kudos to you for pulling that off, man. That's got to be like a bucket list type of thing for a basketball fan. But for as much flack as I took about Tatum Game 7, let me tell you something. He proved me right again on game 1. Okay, great. He had 30 points, but guess what? He didn't the fourth quarter. He didn't take one shot in the fourth quarter. Not one shot. Dude, not one shot. You couldn't even hoist up just hoist up one shot.
Yeah.
You didn't do zero shots. Not only did he not score in the fourth quarter, he didn't even take a shot in the fourth quarter, and your team needed you.
It's sad to see, man. It's sad to see. You put on such a show. You go into the depth, into the bowels of your athleticism to take the team over the hump in a game 7, and you have the whole city rallying around you. Your crowd is there. You're the man. It was on Mother's Day. Like, your mom was there. Like, everything. Nothing else could have gone so perfectly right.
Yeah.
And on game 1, when you're expected to show up again at home and you flounder that bad, like, I mean, to your point, to not take one shot, not one in a whole quarter, especially the last. That's a sorry scene, man. Like, we've seen some premier athletes struggle before, but this is kind of, I'm not saying this is unprecedented, but this is a bad turnover from a 7-1 when you're constantly being the face of a franchise and as the Boston Celtics, and also the face of, the NBA, man. The NBA is doing it anyway, but you gotta do more than that, man. You gotta do more than that.
Especially when you have a 46-point third quarter by the Heat, right? Like, they crushed them in the third quarter. They crushed it in the third quarter. The pressure is on now, Tatum. You gotta step up. Even if your shot isn't dropping, which you seem like you were doing fine earlier in the game, right? Got 30 points going into the fourth. Even if your shot is not dropping the way you wanted it to, you got to look at 9 for 17. He should have been well to 20. He should have had 24 shots. He should have at least 7 shots in that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You know what? He was over 50% from the field, so he was obviously shooting decent enough. You got to be able to, And let me say this for the people that killed me after Game 7 and said, "Oh, he's finally here."
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Congratulations,
More sound bites.
Because that man got lucky game 7. He got lucky. Listen, he hasn't done it before that, and Ori said already run it game after when you needed him to do it again, and not even be 51 points. No one asked for 51 points, but take a couple of shots in the fourth quarter. Totally disappears from that game. So that's my take on that. And you can see, listen, that bench, their bench was getting a little antsy. You saw Mazzulla show a little emotion, throwing the clipboard at one point. So my question is this: who did you have? Well, because we haven't spoken to who did you have in this series out of the best of 7?
I mean, I hate. Okay, I'm gonna give you the big overview picture. My dream is to have Boston Lakers final. That's my dream.
Yes.
Boston win out. That's my dream, because I feel like as a sportsman, as a company man, I don't even get paid by the NBA at all. But I think the NBA wants to see those two classic teams back again, just for one dance. And even if it's LeBron's last dance with the Lakers, because who knows what's going to happen in the next year or two. But to see those two classic, franchises go mano a mano, that would be my dream. But I think the reality is going to be a Miami-Denver final. That's what I think it's going to be.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be real weird. It's going to be like when I'm just trying to think of other, there's been plenty of times where there's been franchises that are so small market, and then they're in the finals. You're like, what's happening here? Like when Vegas was in the Stanley Cup finals after their first inaugural year. I know it's hockey, but people were like, who are these people? I mean, they kind of knew who these second and third stringers were, and it's a couple other, guys that were sent over there. But when you get teams that aren't renowned for whatever the sport is, or brand new, or the market's super small, it doesn't make for a great final. But this could make for a great final if it is Miami-Denver, just because of the route that these two teams have taken to get there.
Yeah, I see that. And the thing is, you're right. Denver, for some reason, as good as they are, they have a guy who's a perennial MVP candidate, if not the MVP. For some reason, ratings wise, they don't really crush it. If it was them and say Memphis, what would the ratings be like in this finals, this conference finals? They'd be nobody would really care about it. I think everybody would be watching Miami, Boston. Now, will the finals have a good ratings? I think because of Boston or Miami. Miami's a great story, and because Boston's got so many fans, they travel so well, they get fans all over the country. I think those are going to be great in ratings, just because those two teams are there, even if it's just the Nuggets. But if the Lakers find a way, we'll get into the Laker game in a little bit. But if the Lakers find a way to get out of that series And if it's Lakers, Boston, you're going to have one of the best rated series, TV ratings in probably a long time.
Yeah, I think so.
And besides the fact that you got Boston and LA, like you said, like which was like a mainstay in the 80s, that was like the main rivalry in the 80s, right?
Iconic, yeah.
Exactly, iconic. You have LeBron on that team, and LeBron's always going to be a draw. So it's going to be a tremendous series. Maybe even rival some football game. Nothing ever rivals a football game. You might have ratings that actually rival a football game at this point,
right?
With that, but yeah, man, I just can't see Boston. I just can't see Miami still going. It's hard for me to see it now. Both these teams. I can't stand both of these teams. So I can't say I'm rooting for either team. I can't see who I want to see. I don't know. We spoke about this earlier this week when they said, well, who do you think is going to be? I said, I don't know. You could ask me at 12-16 as it is right now, I could say Miami and then in 7. And then by 12:35, I'm saying, wait, no, Boston in 7. And then at 12:45, I'm saying, wait, no, Miami in 7. I have no idea. Legitimately, I'm okay with admitting I have no idea who's coming out of the series. Mm-hmm. Zero idea. Like I don't even want to guess because it's such. I wouldn't even say it's evenly matched, but it's evenly matched when you think of the talent on one side and just the desire on the other. I don't know. This is one of those series where I can honestly look at it like I have no effing clue who's coming out of this. Like I couldn't even make a prediction and say, I think Miami in 7 or I think Boston in 7 because I'm going to totally contradict myself 20 minutes later. So I have no idea which way to go with it.
Okay, well then I'll do it for you. I'm going to go Miami in 6.
You think Miami in 6?
I don't think this thing's gonna. Yeah, I don't think this thing's gonna last as long as predicted. Albeit there's only one game's difference from what I'm calling, but I feel like Boston will rise up to the occasion one time, and then after that, it's not going to be a series of blowouts. There's no possible way, but it is going to be a struggle. And then we'll see what we've seen a lot now, which is that third quarter has been very pivotal for a lot of teams, man. That's been a make or break for a lot of teams. And then when you roll into the fourth, they kind of get a second wind, and whether or not they can close that spread, that 10-point or 5-point spread, whatever that thing is, it usually goes down to the wire. So I think we'll get a couple more of those, but I think it's going to be Miami in 6.
Yeah. I see a 7-game series. I just I have no idea which direction to go. I just don't I'll sway with the wind on the series. Like right now I'm thinking, maybe it's going to be Miami, but by tomorrow Boston might pull one out, and I'm like, oh wait, maybe it's going to be Boston. So I have no idea. Yeah. But you know what? Let's get into last night's game. Lakers, Denver Broncos. What am I saying? Denver Nuggets. Denver goes up 2-0. 108-103. Hachimura has been really on fire for the Lakers. 8 of 10, 21 points yesterday. But as good as AD was game 1, what do we expect? We said it earlier in the week. AD is gonna have a great game, but he's due. That means he's due to have a horrendous game. And sure enough, 4 for 15, 18 points. He did have 14 boards, so give him that credit there. But they can't. Can the Lakers do it without AD being on top of his game?
I don't think so. He's such a threat inside. He had a couple blocks last night. One particular late in the stretch where Lakers were trying to make a run, and they were coming close. And it was such a huge momentum changer. Like it shifted the tone of the game so fast that I think he needs to be more present in that fashion. He really needs to show his defensive prowess and do something.
Well, I thought he had a decent defensive game yesterday. I thought to your point, I thought he did. It's offensively, he's just non-existent sometimes.
You're not wrong. So what I'm saying is that his defensive prowess has got to stay as high as it can be or as high as it will be throughout the whole series. So he can't take a night off is what I'm saying, because defense wins championships. We've heard that before. Yep. And in this kind of game, against such a high-powered Denver Nuggets team, you got to step up your game, and nobody can afford to be lazy. So offensively, we know what he has to do. We know what he's capable of. I just don't understand why he just doesn't want to do it all the time. What's the problem? Score, man. Score.
Because he doesn't even take shots sometimes. Not even that he misses a lot sometimes. Yesterday he missed about 11 times. He took 15. But I need to see him take 25 shots. Well,
listen, and then there's times where he gets, and he did this last night, where he gets overly aggressive, or he just thinks a lot of himself when he shoots and scores one 3-pointer. then he thinks he can do it all the time. And now they're doing it in the stretch where Davis is shooting 3 points.
Yeah, he hit that one clutch one from the corner.
Yeah. But after that, it was all rim. And I'm like, God, what do you stop doing that? Like, you made that clutch one. That's great. But you got to go back to where you're comfy, which is just inside the paint, man, or just outside. He's a great shooter from just outside the paint. But you can't all of a sudden just ride that kind of, not so much the luck, but once you have that momentum and think, oh, I can do it again, because you don't need to. You don't need to. Other guys can do it.
Exactly. Now we go from Tatum being an absolute troll in the fourth quarter to Murray, who is a star in the fourth quarter last night. Had a rough first 3 quarters, but then came in and went 23 points in the fourth quarter. The Lakers were in control of this game pretty much throughout, right? And then Murray heats up, and it's like game over. They go up by as much as I think 9 points at one point, maybe 11. Were they maybe double digits? I think they might have been up double digits at one point, but 9 at one point I saw for sure. And then and LA tried to keep it close in the fourth quarter, but Murray 37 points, 23 in the fourth quarter. Jokic obviously another double-double. But I mean, I'm sorry, not double-double, triple-double. But as far as Murray though, what can they? I mean, like, what can they do? Like, is there anything they could have did last night? They played good defense on him. They had him covered. It wasn't like they let Murray run free. What can they do to bottle up Murray? Is there anything they can do?
That is a
shots
great,
that made no sense to be hit.
Yeah, man, that is a great question. Honestly, Gene, like that's a huge. That is the X factor right there. Like I don't know what the answer is, because they legitimately did everything. At one point, they double teamed him a little bit, and off the high pick and rolls, off the high screens. I mean, he was shooting everything. So if there's a high screen, then he could go around to the 3, or he can just like do a little step back, and everything was going in. At that point, there's literally nothing you could do. You saw the Lakers. You saw their demeanor. They knew there's nothing they can do. He went beyond on fire. Like it
was like in game one.
Game one.
LeBron just gave him a thumbs up.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Right? Gave him like he was in the blue heat zone. You know what I mean? He transcended the red and the orange and went to this blue heat zone. So at that point, you got to just wait until you can either do something for his confidence, to knock his confidence down, like make a steal or like maybe an aggressive pick or whatever the thing is, because there's no stopping him. And he was, I ended up watching the whole game, which I thought I wasn't going to.
Yeah.
But man, it was so captivating to watch. And at the end, the interview with him, my guy was exhausted. Yeah. However, his demeanor and his personality still shining through. He didn't make it seem like it was the end of the world. Like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do it in game 3. It wasn't that at all. It was just like, listen, we did what we had to do, and I just happened to have the hot hand, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it again. And that's what it felt like. And I hope that's the deal. I hope that he does come through again, because they're fun to watch, man. And Joker, just the passes, the guy just, you see it coming, and it still works every time. So I don't know, man.
You know, and I apologize before because I got my stats all screwed up. I have Murray's stat line, then I have Jokic, and then I have more Murray's stat lines. So that's why I was kind of fumbling around a little bit before. I'm like, wait a second, something's not right in my notes. So 6 of 7 in the fourth quarter. 6 of 7, hit 4 3-pointers. He was just coming down the court, 3-pointer, get the ball back, come down the court, 3-pointer. Yeah. They went on a 15-1 run at one point. Again, I went into that fourth quarter saying, okay, Lakers are going to pull this game out. They figured out how to stop Jokic a little bit in game 1 towards the end of that game with Hachimura on him. He played fantastic against him, sensational against Jokic. And I'm like, all right, they figured it out. Now they're going to win game 2, and then we got to – who knows what can happen in LA, right? Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we don't get that. We get Denver going on a crazy run in the fourth quarter and pulling out a win. And listen, Lakers still had a shot towards the end. LeBron makes that amazing steal and then rushes that layup and misses the layup. Yeah. He was like, oh, he also missed the dunk. If everybody remembers, he tried to be fancy with a reverse dunk and he ended up dropping the ball. Do the Lakers still have a shot in the series, though? Is my question to you, Nigel.
The answer is yes. Yeah, I'm not. They're not Hydra. They're not Miami, and then they're and they're not Golden State. The Golden State of old. When I say of old, I mean last season. That's all. Yeah. I mean Golden State just ran out of steam at the end, but this year. But yeah, man, they still for sure have a shot. Again, they're going back to LA now, and what we know is fact. Home games matter. Winning at home matters, and that's just fact in any playoff situation in any sport. To nab those two at home early and convincingly, especially to come back and win in game 2, massive. So the Lakers know that they have work to do. So it's going to be a grind. They're going to adjust accordingly, but they'll also have the fans behind them. So I think they can. I think they can nab game 3. I don't know what's going to happen in game 4. I don't even think the momentum or the outcome of game 3 is going to matter in game 4. For some reason, I just think that every game is so isolated,
compartmentalized.
That it might not make a difference.
Oh, look who's back!
Bro. As soon as Nigel started talking, when you're messing with him about his hat, major blackout. I was like, "What the?" So I just want to give a shout out to FPL, which is Florida Power and Light here in Florida, because it's completely sunny outside, but you can't keep the power on. So good freaking job, dude. Holy cow, man! Trying to reboot the.
I remember those times in Florida when I was down there when I was living down there for a year, that it would be beautiful out. I'm like, why do I lose power? Why do I lose power? It's beautiful out. Like in New York, we only lose power when it rains.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. What the bro? We have to keep it on. I don't understand. There's nothing going on outside, man. Jesus Christmas, man.
So we got Joey D back. All right, no, it's my bad.
It's all good.
So rudely interrupted.
Yeah, my bad, Nigel.
No, dude, I'm glad to have you back, bro. Because we were like, yo, what happened? And my guy just disappeared. No, so just at the end of this thought is like, I don't know what's going to happen in game 4. Game 3 is going to be isolated in LA. You know, Denver doesn't seem to care where they play anymore. They don't seem to care. There's like, cool, we're playing here, let's go, and they're gonna go for it. And I think that's gonna be a problem for LA. Tomorrow or Sunday?
Yeah, and you know what? Let me see if I have it. I copied it down real quick. You know what? If you're a Denver Nuggets fan, you loved your coach saying what he said. I don't know if anybody saw the quote after the game in the press conference, but if you're a Laker fan, you're probably like, you know what? F you, Mike Malone. He goes, you win game 1 and everybody this is his quote, this is Malone's quote. You win game 1 and all everybody talked about was the Lakers. Let's be honest. The narrative was, hey, the Lakers are fine. They're down 1-0, but they figured something out. No one talked about how Nikola just had a historic performance. He's got 13 playoff triple-doubles now, 3rd all-time. What he's doing is just incredible. But their narrative wasn't about the Nuggets. Their narrative wasn't about Nikola. Their narrative was about the Lakers and their adjustments. So, you put that in your pipe and you smoke it, and you come back and you know what? We're going to go up 2-0. It made me hate him as someone that's rooting for the Lakers in this series and not really a big Denver fan. It made me hate Malone a little bit. Like if it would have been my Knicks versus the Nuggets, I would have been like, you know what I'm saying? It would have set me off a little bit more. I'm not a Laker fan per se. But you know what? Ballsy comments about it, because I'll tell you what, he can say what he wants. They did figure something out in game 1, and that's why they were winning a part of game 2 until the end. The only thing would save them in game 2, it wasn't Nikola's triple-double. They might have still been in that game because that triple-double. They won because Murray went crazy in the 4th quarter. They didn't win because of Nikola's triple-double. Again, I'm not trying to say it's unimportant. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying it kept them in the game, right? They were there for the 4th quarter to be in the game still. It was Murray going unconscious in the 4th quarter is why they won that game.
Right. However, and let's
agree or disagree. I guess you disagree.
Yeah, kind of. But I also want to say that my bad. The game is actually on Saturday. It's not. Sunday.
Patty tries to put something out there. He's an idiot.
That was my bad. No, I think the comment is more addressing just. It's more so the Lakers persona. It's the Lakers brand, period. I don't think it's like, and I understand what you're saying, Gene, so maybe it is agree to disagree, but it's for me, what that comment is saying is like, it doesn't matter who the Lakers are playing. It's always going to be about the Lakers. The narrative will always be more pushing more so for the Lakers than it will be the other team or the individual highlights or things that have broken down the Lakers. It's always going to be Lakers 1, and that's what he's talking about, and I agree with that one.
I get that. It's like being like, I get it. It's like with the baseball with the Yankees. Everything's always Yankees, because or the Cowboys in football, right? And I just realized, I think I had that before. Did you say the game was on tonight and Patty corrected you saying it's on tomorrow?
I said the game was on Sunday. Patty corrected me.
Oh, I thought Patty had the game wrong and you corrected Patty. I was like, Patty's an idiot.
No. No, stop being a hater today, Gene. You gotta check your notes, bro. Check them notes.
I apologize to Patty Puddles. I didn't mean to call you an idiot. I apologize. But you know what? But also, here's this. I'm gonna stick up for Nigel. Don't call out our castmates on the show by proving he's wrong.
Oh no,
just it was say Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. Sunday is what it is.
That was a low key dig at Nigel.
That's what I'm saying. Me and Nigel have to talk to HR. We might have to have Patty removed. But
give him his first warning.
Conversation you have every week, Gene.
Yeah.
So but yeah, so I'll tell you what, I had Denver winning in 7. I think now that if Denver's going to win, it's going to be less than 7. I think it could be 5. If the Lakers win, it might take 7, or at least 6. Maybe the Lakers in 6. But yeah, man, they need more from Russell. Russell can't score 10 points. He gets paid $35 million a year. He needs to do more than score 10 points in a Western Conference Finals game. Sorry. He's a big reason of why they're not. I thought they were, they kind of slipped. I would love to have him. LeBron at the end of the day is going to need some help. He's almost he's 38, 39 years old. Hachimura is doing what he can do off the bench. Reeves has played good so far the first 2 games of the series. There we go, 23 and 22 points respectively. So my thing is this: is Russell needs more than 10 points a game. He scored 10 points yesterday. We need to see Russell put up starter points from the guard position. Otherwise, it could be a short series for them. LeBron needs help, and you know what? At least AD, like we said it before, AD did do some things defensively. I believe if it was Van Gundy was even sticking up for him a little bit yesterday, saying, "Hey, he's going to do stuff that don't end up in the stat sheets. They're not going to end up in the stat boxes. He's just because he doesn't have like certain stats that you want him to have. He's still having a decent series, but he does need to score. They need at the end of the day, the object is to score points, right? They need to score points, especially against this Denver team in Denver. If he could have had a 23 shot performance and put up another 5 points, well, guess what? Another 5 points makes it a tie game. So we need to see more from AD. He needs to have 20 points a game in this series. But I digress. We go from there. We're going to go into some headlines. Let me pull up the headline sheets. What's first? I know Nigel will have something to say about this. Sixers to interview Nick Nurse. This is your former coach. Mm-hmm. How do you feel he does with that Sixers team? Do you think he's a good fit for that team?
This is one of those. I've said this kind of answer before. I'm going to have to say it again. It's like it really depends on what happens with everybody on that squad now. Like, because I think if let's do it 2 ways. My first answer is if everybody remains where they are, if Harden stays, if Embiid's there, and everybody's still there, the kid Macy, no, what's his name?
Maxey.
Sorry, yeah. If Maxey's there, then I think Nurse is going to bring in a lot of good stuff to that squad. Their defense will step up. Harden will have to step his game up. There's no lazy D with Nick Nurse for his system to work.
Even when he's not playing lazy, though, he's just not good on D. So I honestly think Nick Nurse is probably better off with Harden hitting the bricks, personally.
Right. Oh, see, and then that's moving into my second part of the answer is like if there is a trade or if Harden is out or if – because I feel like that team's going to be shaken up a little bit. I don't know exactly how, but I think something's going to happen. I think if Harden's out, let's say, I think this is great. Embiid needs this. Like, he needs Nick Nurse to come in with this system, shake things up. And the whole franchise needs that anyway. I mean, under Doc and losing every time and first, second round of the play, that's game 7s. That's a bad look. So I think they just need the refresh. And I think it would be a fit. I mean, I would hate to see it only because we're not Sixers fans up here in Toronto, but it is what it is. But yeah, man, I get it.
I think I love Nick Nurse as a coach. I think he's a fantastic coach. I think Harden being there will make his job way more difficult than it needs to be. I think, listen, Harden might be good for some coaches, right? We talked about it on Wednesday. He'd be perfect to play under D'Antoni if D'Antoni ends up somewhere this offseason. Mm-hmm. But he's not, but Harden can't, I don't think he fits Nick Nurse's system. Nick Nurse is, he's a guy that he obviously preaches defense. He also there's a hustle mentality on on the teams that he coaches. You saw it with Toronto. What I'm saying? Even when they didn't have crazy talent, they still were able to go ahead and they at least hustled. I know the Kawhi year was the anomaly because they had Kawhi there for the 1 year, won the championship. But a lot of those guys came in and they were coached up. A lot of those guys came in that weren't lottery picks, right?
Yeah.
That they were able to coach up.
We had talent, but we just didn't have the names. That's all. Because the talent was there, but the names weren't there. So then when all of a sudden the talent shows up, because it is coached up, just to your point, because it was coached up by Nurk, by Nurk, which is me mashing him into one entity by Nick Nurse. Maybe I'll TM that Nurk. Anyways, but yeah, then it became a thing, right? Then you get your spicy peas and your OGs and whatever. But continue. Sorry to break.
No, I was just saying. I think we're in agreement there. Joey, what do you think? Harden they need to move on from Harden.
Yeah, I think so. And like you said, I think it definitely would make his job harder. But I think
even when he was in his prime, even when Harden was young, he could move around. He still didn't play defense.
Yeah, well, no, he's a pure offensive guy. I mean, it's just some guys. It's just how they are. Some guys are purely defense. Some guys are purely offense. Some guys are really both. Some guys want to work on their craft. Some guys don't care to do that. They just kind of want to, keep being whatever it is they're good at. It's a comfort zone, and they don't want to work at it. It was kind of like, even though, and this is not in comparison, because obviously MJ was not a three-point shooter for a big majority of the beginning of his career, but he worked on that and became that. So same thing with his defense. He used to just be hard to the basket, and then later on became really good defensively. But he also, this is why he was so great, and the players that want to work on that, on their craft for that. So yeah, I think it would make it harder for him.
You know what my thing is on Harden? Until the day he retires, he's a threat to score 40 points a game. Now, he won't do it every game. He'll have a lot of games where he has 12 points. He has 15 points. He has 8 points.
Like Russell Westbrook.
But at any given Sunday, right, as they say, in any given Sunday, any given game, he could go off for 40-plus points. And you have to respect him. The thing is, this is why I never understand about defense, because to be a good defensive player, all it really takes is what? Effort, right? There's no specific skill set to be a good defender. It just takes effort. Just staying in front of your man, keeping up with your man, being a nuisance and being a nag to the guy you're in front of. It just takes effort to be a good defensive player. And that's why I don't understand why so many players are so bad at defense. Or because my thing is this: if I'm Harden and I've been told my whole career that I suck at defense, wouldn't you want to be spiteful one year and just be like, you know what? I'm gonna be on. You know what? I might get some fouls more than I would normally get, but I'm gonna be in front of my guy. I'm gonna work on it, because there's no skill set really to teach defense. It's more of just hustle and effort. I mean, am I wrong, Nige?
I think, honestly, I'll be honest with you. I think there's got to be some element of intuition and sometimes. And I'm not saying that
there's a basketball IQ that goes in that. I agree with that. I agree with
some
that.
guys can kind of just, it's like ball hawks in football. There's just some guys that are always around the football because they just have that instinct. So I think a majority of it.
Let's say this: maybe not to be a great defender, but to be at least a half decent defender.
Agreed. You gotta put effort in. There's no other way around it.
All right.
And also defense.
Yeah, and also I'm scoring 40, 45 points on any given Sunday, man. Like, back off. Like, you want to play defense? Like, I'm scoring these points. So maybe it is that part of that thing that Joey's talking about, is like some players are just geared to just have this one mode, or just like that's just the way they're gonna roll. And like could be overcompensating for that fact. Look, okay, great. I'm not great at defense, but what, as soon as I hit the floor, I'm going to give you like anywhere between 35 and 40. So, just everybody slow your roll.
You know what is maybe he's like Jimmy Butler has that chip on his shoulder. So that's why I think to me, his chip on his shoulder that he's had since day one is why I feel like he's a good defensive player, because he has that chip on his shoulder. Yeah. And I feel like in order to be good at defense, you need a chip on your shoulder, because you got to have a reason to want to shut people down. And that's one of the reasons why I think he's able to do it. Maybe Harden needs that chip. Now at this point, it's older. He's long in the tooth. He hasn't got many years left in the league. So maybe he's kind of like, well, listen, this is what I am at this point. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, so, and I think with Butler too, Butler's one of those guys that if you burn him, if you if you beat him on your first step or whatever the thing is, and you score, Butler's going to be upset about it for a very long time.
Yes.
For a very long time. And he will make sure that your life is either living hell after that, or he's going to just put everything on his back. Harden, if you beat Harden will be like, okay, cool, and will immediately take the ball down the floor and shoot three. Like he's just going to do that. He's not going to think about anything else, and then that's all he's going to keep doing. You know what I mean? So like, there's a slight difference, and Buckets is going to do the whole thing around you because he's upset that you.
Buckets wants to ruin your life. He wants to ruin your life.
Yeah. And all you did was something to him one time, just one time. That's all it takes. But Harden, he's like, oh yeah, okay, I can shoot a 3 too, and then Harden's done. Like Harden's just like, cool, man.
Yep. All right, so on to the next, man. Bob Myers, Warriors still far part of an extension. And actually, since then, it sounds like he might be willing to walk away from the Warriors. He's built such a squad there. I'm Joey. Where else could he end up? He's still young. He's still got a ton of years to be a GM. It's not like he's long in the tooth as an individual. He's still young for a GM. Is this worse for him or for the Warriors? Can he go somewhere and build up another team, or is this more like who's in trouble? I guess in this scenario, if he leaves, is it him or the Warriors?
I don't. It's hard to say because what he's built.
Warriors, and not to cut you off, but one other thing too is Warriors are not far from a rebuild themselves. They got a lot of older players on the team. They're not far from a rebuild themselves. So, and he built that team. So again, I digress. I apologize but I didn't want to get that whispered out.
Okay, I'm used to it. Sorry. So, no, it's just
there you go.
For such a young guy and what he's built, and we've seen this in a lot of sports where you got a lot of young GMs. First of all, I think right off the bat, I would think maybe the Warriors would be the ones hurting it first. And I only say that because the problem is, can he replicate this? And that's the problem when you have GMs. You don't know. But in one spot, can they go to multiple teams and do it again, or can they kind of rebuild the cupboard again? Restock the groceries again as you kind of go through. So, and that's, to me, that's what proves the mettle of GMs a lot of times. And this is across football, basically, this is all of them, because you can build a squad. Listen, you might hit on a few. We can look at Seattle in the NFL. I'm sorry to keep referencing it. I just love the NFL. But if you look at Seattle and you look at Pete Carroll and you look what they built originally when they had Cam Chancellor and you had Bobby Wagner, they built all these guys on 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks that turned into Legion of Boom, and they were the greatest defense in the NFL and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. We kept saying to die off now. Russell leaves, Sherman leaves, and we got all these guys, and somehow they get Geno in there who has like a freaking year of his life, and they have been able to kind of still be competitive, even though they've had some down season, but it doesn't matter. They've kind of rebuilt this again. So they have proven that they can do that. So the same thing comes for him. Where he could go, I don't know, but I think it would behoove that team to make sure they re-sign him. At least see if he can do it again, or at least if he can continue this, because it's hard to get good GMs. It really is. Player personnels and stuff is very hard to do. You have to have a guy that can judge talent, judge players, and then work it out where you're getting. Because remember, it's not just throwing in the best names or the players you can. You gotta have some kind of cohesiveness. And we've seen this where LeBron goes to the team and it might not be the same, or Durant and Russell. Like, there's a whole bunch of dynamics when it comes to that stuff. You can't just throw everybody in. I mean, there's been many teams that have done that where you just try to put the most money and the most players out there, and it comes out to be a dud. So I don't know, but I think they should try and keep him. Really, I know the contracts have stalled the talks, but they really need to work on that, I think.
And you don't have to go too much further than Nigel to tell you what a good front office means to a team, because Toronto was a team that really didn't have much going on until they got Simon Ujiri, and now they're perennial. Even when they don't have some talent there, they're still a perennial type team to worry about. And you never know when he's going to be able to restock that cupboard, because if there's one thing he's good at doing is finding those 2nd round picks. So what it's like to have a good front office. So let's bring that over now to the Warriors. The Warriors need to get this job done with Myers. Again, I just looked it up. He's 48 years old. That's young for a GM, man. Like he's only a few years out of a playing age. That's young for a GM. Do the Warriors need to get this deal done and keep him there for when they're ready to restock that cupboard?
I'm gonna push back slightly. First of all, let me touch on the Raptors thing, the Raptors front office. That was one of those things where Raptors fans are very rabid. Like, we love our team, obviously. I mean, it's the only team north of your border, so it's like we're huge fans across the country. What happens is when Masai comes in and starts making all kinds of trades and all kinds of dumping a little bit of money so we can get some European flavor and some African flavor in, so we become a very multicultural team. All of a sudden, people start paying more attention to the front office. And to Joey's point, it's like, it's not just like somebody out there who's just putting these players together and then you just have a team. Like, we started really paying attention. I should say I really started paying attention more now to the front office, because it is so pivotal to how the machine actually works, right? And so now you're paying attention to the draft, and you're paying attention to lottery picks, you're paying attention to who's being picked up. Because that you can't put everything just in a pan, put it on the stove, and just hope it turns into lasagna. If anybody makes lasagna, it's very complicated.
I actually just made lasagna yesterday. I actually had the morning off. And I made the homemade sauce. I got the sausage.
See?
I got the
Complicated.
meatballs.
Yep. See?
I can spend an hour to tell you about this lasagna that I made yesterday, which was fantastic. It's funny you should say that. Good.
Yeah. So that's my point. So now I digress, and with a little bit of pushback. I was watching this Netflix show last night, and Peyton Manning popped up, and they had talked about very quickly. They had talked about how he won Super Bowl 50. With Denver. He was in Denver at the time. They played Cam Newton, his Carolina Panthers, and he won a Super Bowl. Instantly retired. Peace, man. I'm out. And it's like, that is what, and to Joey's point also, I feel like we're always going to throw in a lot of football references here. We're getting close. But anyways, the reason why I bring that up is because Tom Brady did the opposite thing. And I think he shouldn't have. I think once he won it, especially like jumping ship with the Patriots, going to Tampa Bay, winning a Super Bowl, cut it loose. You're done. It's great. You did the thing. You did what was asked of you, and you went above and beyond. Yep. The reason why I'm using those two examples is because I think this is a time where Bob Myers, the contract negotiations, sure, they've broken down. Maybe this is a time for him to get out. Listen, yes, having a GM like that in their front office is a huge get. He won't be out of work for very long.
No.
And I just think that with his resume, with what he did, that legacy there in Golden State, that team won't go as low as like a Sacramento or Sacramento of old. When I say that, I mean last 2 years ago, because they were a bad franchise up until then. Or like they're not going to go as low as, I don't think they'll go as low as like a San Antonio Spurs either. Now they're probably gonna come up with the first pick in the draft. But I'm just saying that it might be a good time for Myers to actually just bounce and start something fresh, start something new, because you're right, man. With the cap and with all these moving parts, man, with Green and Thompson and Curry, those are the three that you got to really think about. And then you got to throw Wiggins in the mix. That's a lot of players. Everybody's got to eat. Yeah. So, I mean, it might be time. I don't know.
I'll tell you what, Knicks are obviously my team. Golden State and Orlando Magic are my two other teams that I love to watch and I love to root for. I'd love to see him go to – I don't know who the GM is. I'd be lying if I told you who the GM is in Orlando. If Patty could even look it up. I mean, who's the GM for the Orlando Magic? I'm sure I know who it is. I'm just blanking on who it would be. Once you say it, I'm sure it'll jog something. But I would love to see him maybe go there and help build that team, because that team could be a team on the come up with the right draft picks and the right movements in the front office. That could be a team that's, it's already got a couple of young players. Ben Charo is really nice to watch. Cole Anthony is nice to watch. Another place that might be a good spot for them, because they're going to be in cap hell, is go to maybe the LA Clippers and kind of fix the situation there a little bit. John Hammond. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. He's not as fun to watch as John Hamm, but John Hammond is not bad, I guess, right? But I think Bob Meyer would be a huge win for the Orlando Magic. No, I'm not saying I want to see Hammond lose his job. I'm not saying that at all. So I apologize, Mr. Hammond. But at the end of the day, Bob Meyer is one of the best GMs to do it, right? The way he built that Warrior team. I would love to see him go to the Magic and rebuild that Magic team. And he's already got some pieces already in the cupboard to do it with. There's 2 draft picks this year coming up, so. I would love to see them try to get him over there. Now, I think he's got 1 year left, though, if I remember correctly, right? Doesn't he have 1 year left in Golden State? And this is more of for an extension. I believe it's so it's next year. So, but you know how it is, man. Lame duck coaches, lame duck GMs usually just get told to go before that happens anyway. So if they can't come up with an extension, they might see them make a move this offseason with the GM spot, just because if they can't figure it out. I tend to think, push comes to shove, Golden State's one of the richest franchises in the league. I think push comes to shove, they'll figure it out. I really do think so. I personally think it would be a mistake for him to go. For the Warriors to let him go, I think he's going to go somewhere and he's going to make somebody else a winner if he does go somewhere else. So there's that.
Well, that's going to be the question, right? If he goes somewhere else, everyone's going to be waiting to see, was Golden State right or was he right? So everyone's going to be, and that's going to be what that is.
And this GMs, even if you want to take it to the NFL, that have gone to places and built up multiple places from nothing. And listen, of course, this guy made an ass out of himself toward the end of his career with some of the statements he made. But Bill Polian was a guy that went to teams and rebuilt teams from nothing. He built the 4 Super Bowl contending teams. They lost every year, but they were in the Super Bowl 4 years in a row. Those Bills. He built the Carolina Panthers in the beginning of the career when they were really good. In the beginning of the franchise when they were really good. He's been able to do that until he, and then again, he was one of the best GMs until he made an ass of himself with the Lamar Jackson comments and how he had Tom Brady rated in the first round. If they would have needed a quarterback, he would have took him in the first round. It's like, bro, nobody's had him in the first round.
Nobody.
You're killing yourself. As we said before, congratulations, you played yourself. So Yeah. So my thing is I think personally that that he could go somewhere and he can just rebuild another team. And the Warriors are not, like I said, the Warriors are not far from having to rebuild a little bit themselves. It makes sense to give him some money. It doesn't affect your cap. When you pay your GM, it doesn't affect your cap. Your GM is super important. Pay your GM. Pay him. He did it for you before. Let him do it for you again. All right, so on to the next one. Kelvin Sampson, Joseph Blair in interviews for the Bucks job. Nigel, are either of these two guys excited? Are you excited to see either of these two get that Bucks job?
Not really. I don't really.
It's a bad. If they get stuck with everybody else that's on there free agent wise as coaches, with everybody else, all the top coaching talent that's available right now, this would be a loss for me.
Yeah. It doesn't honestly do much for me at all. I think I'm over that franchise now. I'm over I love what they accomplished as a squad. That was one of the most exciting seasons of basketball, especially when they ended up winning 2-3 seasons ago. But now, yeah, man, let's shake it up. Because it just obviously needs a little bit of a shake up. But I just want to make sure that I'm clear. I'm not that guy. Like in hockey, it seems like as soon as teams lose, man, they implode. Maybe that's just a Toronto life, but they just like implode. Everybody's gone, and they start trading people away, and it's ridiculous. Maybe they want to take one more kick at the can with this squad, maybe. But I would say it's fine to. It's fine.
I mean, Joseph Blair is the assistant with the Wizards, won a G League championship with Rio Grande in 2019. Kelvin Sampson has been a really good college coach with University of Houston, been to 4 straight Sweet 16s. My thing is, listen, he's made Houston a perennial powerhouse in the NCAA. I'd like to see him stay there. But do I think he'd succeed with the Bucks? Listen, anytime you have Giannis on your team, you're going to be pretty good, right? Doesn't matter about, at that point, is it really the coaching, or is you just got that good of a squad because you got Giannis there? He can make a lot of coaches look good. I think Kelvin Sampson is actually a good coach. But again, very dull to bring him to when there's other guys that have an NBA pedigree already still. I'd rather go bring one of those guys in. Leave Kelvin Sampson where he's at. He's built a nice culture in Houston, the University of Houston. They've won a ton of games. He has a chance to stay there long term and really be like a historic Houston coach, historic NCAA coach if he keeps this up over the next bunch of years. I'd love to see him stay. Forget about the fact I don't think he'd be a top pick for a pro team. Just for the NCAA alone, I'd love to see him stay there and stay in the NCAAs personally. Joey, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the thing with I don't know a whole lot about him. I do know, obviously, he's a good college coach. The thing is, I know they were looking at a bunch of other NBA assistants, and for me, that's probably where I would go. Not that a college coach couldn't come to the NBA, but if he's already successful there, but you also have NBA assistants that are probably more qualified, know the NBA system and the players even more so than him. That's probably going to be your safest bet with that. Plus, there's a bunch of assistants that could be coaches. There's just not enough positions to get everybody. Yeah. So you just got to find the right one that you think is going to fit your system. And it's that simple.
I think it's if you're a free agent head coach right now and you're looking for a spot, whether it be Monty Williams or whoever it is, Doc Rivers, whoever it is, this has got to be a job that if they call you, you do that interview, because there's no one that's passing up this job, right? No. You got Giannis. As long as Giannis is still going to be there next year, this is a job that nobody passes up. I imagine. Agreed, Nigel? Or not?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would love to just have that on my resume, man. That's like, like having, I've done multiple Walmart commercials and McDonald's and Tim Hortons commercials. I'm so proud of those. Like, those are the first ones I say because everybody knows it. So of course you want to say that I coached Giannis for a year. Kids are going to be like, oh my God, like that's a big deal, man. So yeah, absolutely.
There you go. We don't have Tim Hortons down here, really. Do they have them in Florida?
Which ones?
Tim Horton. Is that just a Canadian thing?
No.
I've heard of them.
They do not. Yeah, I've heard of it. But I've never seen it in Florida.
They're closer to Buffalo. I think was the first city to get it, and then we start trickling down. So, but we're not.
What is it? Is it like a McDonald's or is it like a Wawa's? What is Tim Hortons?
No, it's like I guess it's like a Dunkin' Donuts kind of thing. So it's it's their specialty is coffee, and so coffee's their thing. Not like fancy coffee. It's literally like you just want a coffee, get a double, or that's a huge phrase up here in Canada. It's 2 milk, 2 sugar, whatever. And then we do everything else, a bunch of donuts and special donuts, depending on if it's Canada Day or if it's which is our Victoria holiday, or the long weekend, or like McDonald's or like Tim Hortons Foundation cookies and stuff. You know what I mean? So we have like the whole gambit of things, and then we do cold drinks as well. So it's just a coffee stop. So I would say closer to Dunkin'.
I love the double thing because I used to listen to a Disney podcast. Their name was Dole Whips and Double Doubles. And they were from Canada.
That's it. That's it.
There's the reference. I never would have understood that either. I would have been like, I don't know what that means.
There you go. All right. So up next, Rockets will list the trade offers for the number 4 pick. Anyone surprised about this? There's really only one major prize in this draft, I find. Is anybody surprised that they're looking to move this pick if they can?
No,
go ahead, Nigel.
Yeah, sorry, man. No, I'm not surprised at all. Like the Rockets have been abysmal for the last. I think they've been in the bottom 3 for the last 3 seasons or something.
They've been
that franchise is hurting in a bad way, and I think they were going downhill quick, and then have just stayed there now. So of course they're going to do everything they can to become. I don't even know if relevant's the word, because Houston Rockets basketball hasn't been relevant since, I would say, the early 2000s. Well, since Harden left, I guess.
Yeah. He left about 5 years ago, something like that, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. So it would have been a little bit longer than that, I think. Yeah, but anyway, so it's fine. They're going to do what they got to do to try and be something, and I think at this point they're trying to get into the play-in, and that's about it.
And they got a decent coach, Rudy Dogo, who went there from Boston, who obviously was fired for Boston for not on the court stuff, off the court stuff. So hopefully he's got his stuff taken care of, and he's ready to coach some basketball. But they got a decent coach. They got to add some veterans. They got some young play. Jalen Green's a nice young player.
Yeah, they
got some young talent, but they need to add some veteran leadership, which I could see. All right, maybe we trade this pick. Maybe we get a guy on an expiring deal, come over here, help teach these kids a little bit, and then move on from there. Again, I don't know if there's anybody, there's no guarantee, there's no lock at the 4th pick this year. There's nobody saying, okay, I can't wait to go. We have a chance to get this guy at number 4. After Wemby, this is a weak draft, I feel like, compared to with some of the previous drafts. After Wemby, there's really not much there that I think is awe-inspiring. So, all right, so let's get on to some more Bucks news. Should the Bucks re-sign Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez? What do you think, Joey?
I mean,
Chris Middleton. Go ahead, my bad.
No, it's okay. I mean, they're at what is that? 114 million. I think I had notes on this stuff.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and they're projected at 134. I mean, I guess at the right price. If you're really going to do that, I mean, and that can go for pretty much any player, really, unless it's like just some out of the, you're going to pay for the out of the world superstars. But these are good players. It's just a matter of if you can get them at a good price, especially since that you're going to stay within the cap, because I know it's completely different than some of these other ones. I mean, that's kind of where I would think.
Brook Lopez had a nice resurgence to his career by adding the being so good. I mean, he's been phenomenal on defense. Usually you see a player get older, they get a little, the defense is the first thing to go. He's actually gotten better defensively, it seems like, over the last few years. If you had to pick one or the other, Nige, who would you bring back?
Ooh, who would I bring back?
If you only could pick one.
Yeah, if I could only pick one, I'm probably going to say Middleton.
Really?
Yeah, I and this is my bias from my fantasy basketball team like 2 seasons ago.
Well, there you go. And there it is. At least he's honest about it.
Yeah, man, I'm going to be straight up. Middleton was having it was that championship run, and he was having a season, man. Yes. And I think that, and he was progressively getting better each year. And I think he's that. I love a good a swing guy. I love a good between a point guard and a shooting guard who's just on the wing and just always ready, but then they can always do a nice drive that results in a layup, not a dunk, but a layup. I love those dudes, man. And Middleton's that guy who I like him as being, your number 2 or your number 3. When I say that, especially on Milwaukee, Giannis obviously is going to be your number 1, but I like having that sidekick that's just as vital when he's, again, if we're talking when he's 100% and he's playing all the games, if not most of the games. Yeah, I would say Middleton.
See, I feel like Middleton has finally reached his ceiling. I think it's for as good as he was those few years. I feel like he's kind of reached his ceiling. We know what he is now. I think he was a guy that came out of nowhere at one point, but now we kind of know what he is. I think I'd go, just because of the defensive prowess that he's shown in the last few years, I think I'd go Brook Lopez at this point.
Sure.
And then let Middleton, maybe we need to go bring somebody else in to be that second scorer. Let Middleton go a little bit. Now, again, I wouldn't pay too much for Brook Lopez. I got to get him on a somewhat of a good deal because he's not spring chicken by any stretch, and he's not what he was offensively when he was with Brooklyn and everything else. But he's been better with defense. I think I'd want that on my team right now, and then go get myself a second scorer to help Giannis over there in Milwaukee. That's how I think I would go about it. I just think it'd be easier for my cap as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But that's that.
And also, there's something to be said about centers, though, right? Like, sorry, I mean, you need them in this day and age. Like, you need them like pretty bad.
You know what's funny is, you say that, and a few years ago, it almost seemed like the center position was dying, and then we had a resurgence. And you know what? Maybe it could be Embiid or whoever it would be. Maybe we thank Embiid for that, because over the last few years, where we thought that was a position that was kind of dying out, almost like the running back in football, it was kind of dying out. And when we got a couple of athletic centers in the league, and all of a sudden the center position is important again. AD and Embiid might be the biggest reasons. They better be the reasons why that center position just kind of came back a little bit. But yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So all right, so on to the other one. More Bucks information stuff. Bucks and Summers are rumored to be interested in the Clippers head coach Tyronn Lue. I would think Tyronn Lue would be a great fit on most teams. He's got 2 years left, 1 year guaranteed. So you're probably gonna have to work out some type of sign and trade or something like they're trying to get him over there. But how do you feel like he would be? Do you think he'd fit either of those two teams really well? I'll start with Nige, I guess. Yeah,
I think you're right. I think Lue is one of the most versatile coaches in the system right now, and it's. I laugh only because the amount of coaching vacancies and then coaches out there like this, it's bananas to think that a lot of our conversation, when I say the three of us, and also a lot of sports commentary for the next couple of weeks or maybe even month, is mostly dominated by coaches. Because the vacancies are so huge. It's almost like that 1 year where like I guess it would have been the Russell Westbrook year, but when there was like the crazy amounts of trades, like when the Lakers got Westbrook and the thing, and like KD went to like it was just like this wild season where it almost felt like it felt like you're playing NBA 2K and all these, and you could just make up a dream team. It's like that for coaches right now, man.
I love how Pat puts up the stats for Tyronn Lue, but it's his playing stats. He's a coach now, man.
Give him the win.
What? Come on, Patty.
I hope he did it on purpose, but we all know he didn't. But I think, man. Sorry, I'm being long-winded, but I think you're right. I just think that Lue is pretty versatile, and everybody likes him. Everybody likes the guy, right? So
he overachieved with a team that hasn't stars never playing. Yeah. He's overachieved with that team.
So I'm okay with it.
And still manages. He does a great job of managing egos more than anything else. Before even his X's and O's, to have Westbrook and Kawhi Leonard on the team and have to manage those egos, especially Westbrook more than anything, I guess, and to be able to achieve some of the stuff he's achieved, it wasn't really long term with Westbrook. Westbrook only kind of came towards the end of that season, but to be able to make some noise with those players being hurt a lot and then having to deal with just managing egos, to me that's one of his greatest attributes, is being able to do that. He had a coach LeBron, and you could say that. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, of course it's easy to coach LeBron." Like I said before, anyone that has a chance to coach Giannis, you're going to take that chance, right? But there's also it's a gift and a curse, because any little slip, people are going to look at it like, well, it can't be Giannis's or LeBron's fault, like Kawhi's fault. It's got to be the coach's fault. When sometimes players aren't going to play to their best, to the backs of the baseball cards, as they say, right? And it's going to fall on the coach either way. So it's a gift and a curse when you coach a star like that. And especially in Lue's case, because those guys never suit up and play. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
So
at least not at the same time.
Apparently, right? They're like Superman and Clark Kent. Like, is Paul George and Kawhi Leonard other two different people? Because they're never on the court together. So
here we go.
Good job, Patty Puddles. There we go. So. But yeah, so I mean, listen, he's been a good coach in this league. He's coached some good teams. Like I said, he's coached LeBron. And again, when you coach LeBron, it's a gift and a curse, because not only do you have the best player in the league, but there's also a lot of expectations to go with that. There's also the fact that you have to worry about, is LeBron going to try to like kind of outshine you as the coach on the floor? And you know what I'm saying? There's those things that you have to worry about. Like, you shouldn't have to, but coaches do. Coaches have egos too. They don't want to be second guessed by their star players. So
also the current owner, obviously Ballmer, really likes Lue, so it's going to be.
Yeah, and Ballmer's got money, man. So Ballmer's going to give him what he wants to say.
He's got 2 years left on the contract. He might make expensive that they like purposely, unless we don't know the relationship that he has with Lue. I'm assuming since he's a big fan, they're probably good, because it's kind of like, you want to let somebody go to a better opportunity if that's the case. But he really likes him, so I don't know if he would make it easy for that to be.
I think he's going to say, stick around, because once we get healthy, we're going to be good, and I want you here for that. And you know what he could? Here's what Lue can do: is parlay this into a big extension. You got 2 years left with only 1 year guaranteed. Go ahead and say, hey, listen, these guys want me. They're ready to roll now. If he goes to the Bucks and the Suns, those teams are ready to win now.
Right.
And the Clippers are a few years away. He could say, listen, I could either, like, do me a favor. Like, I could go there and win now, or I could stay here and know that we're going to have a tough time for the first couple of years, the next couple of years, because our stars are banged up and they're old. If you want me for this next phase of the Clipper of a run with the Clippers,
right,
show me the love, show me some money. You know what I'm saying? as they said in Jeremy War, show me the money. It's a good way to parlay this into a contract extension, I think. At minimum, that's at least. And again, Bomber seems to love Tyrone Lue, so I think that would. And I know Dom Lewis, who's not with us today, he loves himself some Tyrone Lue. So I guarantee if he had the opportunity to lock him up long term, he's saying give him a big deal. So
I mean, listen, the Clippers have been like on the cusp for the last 5 seasons. Like they've been a couple years away for at least the last 5 seasons.
And what does that tell you? That maybe they're just never gonna, do you know what I'm saying? So, but I don't find it to be a fault of the coach. I find it the fault of the players not suiting up.
I agree. 100%.
So, and we're going to talk about Kawhi Leonard in a minute. In fact, maybe we'll skip the next one and we'll stay on Kawhi Leonard. So I'll come back to that. Kawhi Leonard hasn't decided whether or not to have a surgery for his meniscus care. Dude, are you fucking kidding me? Excuse my language, but I'm seriously like, dude, you didn't play in important games because you tore your meniscus, and now you're like, maybe I don't need surgery. Maybe I'll just hold that. Like, what are you doing? And the longer he waits, what does that do? It makes it longer than he's gonna have to be to where before he's ready to play again next year. What are you gonna wait till August and then decide to have the surgery? And now you're gonna miss the first 2 months of the season next year. Like, what are you doing? You didn't play because you tore your meniscus, and now you're not. Now you decide, well, I don't know if I need surgery. I mean, you can't make this up, Kawhi. No, Kawhi, I'm sure, has read newspapers, has had the internet access to his house. I'm sure he's seen things that people have said about him never being there when you need him. He's the biggest guy on load management. So even when he's healthy, he doesn't play because of load management. And then when you get a little dinged up, you never play. When are you going to play? And now you actually have something that's legitimately done, and you're saying, well, I don't know if I need surgery. Am I wrong, Nigel? Am I being a little too much right now?
Listen, I'm going to throw a year out there, and then I'm probably going to walk away from this conversation. That year is 2019.
Mic drop for you? I know you guys won the title.
Like, that's when we won the title with him, and when I think it became even more apparent what the idea of load management was or is, right? Mm-hmm. This is one of the, for us, and I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for the whole Raptors nation, but we didn't want to see the guy go. If you've seen the campaigns that we were running up here in this city, this guy can eat. He could eat for free anywhere. He could stay. He could sleep anywhere. Like the guy he would have been the next best thing to the mayor. This guy of the city. We want him so bad.
Maybe he even could have ran for mayor.
He probably would have won. He probably or came very close. So my thing is, like, it sucks that he left. And then it's like, yo, we didn't want this for you to be injured. He's been injured every year since. He hasn't played a full season of basketball since. That's sad,
pull this stats real quick again, Patty. I had it up. Look, 52, 52, 57, 69, 70. 74 was like the best he's had. That was at the end of that Spurs run, the second last year at the Spurs. But even before that, even earlier in his career, 64, 66, 58. Like, yo, if you're a star player, you need to play more than 50 some odd games a year. I'm sorry. Yep. You need to be there at 70 minimum, 75. And that's if it's all 82. Like, I miss the days of the players playing all 82 games and thinking, what do you mean take a day off? Can you imagine if someone said, Jordan, Michael, we need you to take a day. We want to give you a blow. Take a day today. Michael Jordan would have been like, what are you talking about? What are you kidding me? Yeah. He probably had money on the game that night, and that's why he needed to make sure he won. So that's why he played. I don't know if anybody's seen Jeremy Roenick's thing where he made a bet with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was going to score 40 points in the game. He ended up scoring 55 after drinking all day and playing golf all day. But there's that. Like, well, even let's go into one of the guys that are here now, Jimmy Butler. Man, Jimmy Butler doesn't need to take days off. He's not young either. Mm-hmm. Like so that's my thing is if you are going to be a star player, and Kawhi is a star player, you need to be available more than 50 some odd games a year, regardless if it's injury or it's load management. And if it is injury, then figure it out what it is and get it fixed, which is why my problem is, how long are you going to wait to figure out you need to fix your meniscus? Like, are you going to wait till July? I mean, we're already in May, right? Your season's been over for the last couple of weeks. What do you mean you haven't decided yet? Like, the minute you were missing games, you should have already had a decision. And it's either, hey, I'm going to rehab this thing, which if you have a torn meniscus, you need surgery. I'm sorry, you just need surgery.
Meniscuses, I've had one. I've had a complete reconstruction of a meniscus. It was torn down the center, 7 months of rehab, a year to get back running again and all that good stuff. Meniscuses don't, because it's cartilage, they do not heal on their own. It just doesn't work like that. And right now I have a slight tear in the same one, but it's like a hangnail on the side. And even that, this was a couple of years ago when I got the MRI. He even said, you're going to have days where you'll feel fine. You won't even notice. If the little flap comes up, your knee's going to bother you a bit. He said, but it will never heal. We need to go in and clip it. And he says, it's very easy to do, but it will never heal. Now you're talking about a basketball player, the constant jumping, running, cutting, stopping. So I don't know where that question of, I don't know if I need it. Of course you do. You have to. Yeah. It's never, matter of fact, the worst part, it will create a larger tear and just go. It'll just go on you. So that's the problem. And especially, I don't see the logic in that. You have to have surgery. There's no way around it. You can't continue to play on a tournament. It doesn't work. And especially
if you're going to eventually even have the surgery again, like how late are you going to wait to have it? Because you still have to rehab from it. So it's not.
He should already had it. He should already have it.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you want to be ready for next season, you got to have that surgery right away. So that way you're ready to go come training camp, or as close to training camp as you can. Could you imagine after being killed for missing so many games at the end of this season, if he decides like in August to finally have the surgery, and now he's going to miss like the first 3 months of the regular season next year? And be brought back slowly because he's going to want load management. And I get Nigel's affinity for the man because he brought a championship to Toronto when nobody thought it would ever happen. We never thought that they'd be a championship caliber team until he got there and he made it. So I completely get it, Nigel. I would be the same way. Listen, my Knicks have been putrid for years and years and years. The next guy that comes here that helps my team win, I'll let him sleep with my wife. God damn it! Just I need a championship. But my thing is this. So she never listens. I'll find out if I get with a chocolate in a minute. But my thing is this: I get the affinity for him, but I feel bad for Clippers fans, man, because you got this guy here. You wanted him so bad. He came home to LA, and he's just never available. And here's a time where he can go get himself available and be good to go for next season. And he's just sitting. I don't know what I want to do yet. Dude, I'm glad you want to wait on it.
Listen, man, I feel bad for Clippers fans. I feel bad for Paul George, but then also I feel bad for Paul George as well because he's banged up. But I feel bad for Lou. Like, I mean, because I just want the Clippers to be in the mix, man. I just want them to be in the mix. They have everything that we saw.
It'd be exciting to watch.
Yeah, and we saw what happened. We saw what happened this year in the first round. I'm sorry, first round, right? Like it was nice to watch, and I just want them a part of the scene. I just want that team a part of the team so bad. They want it so bad. I'm not saying they got to win a championship, but I'm saying that they got to be in the mix, man. Got to be. Paying too much money to be like the second LA team in that city, and you're still the laughing stock, still second rate. Like,
and they got a new arena coming. You want to have him ready to go with this new arena and stuff. Like you have a lot of good stuff coming up in the future for this team. Get it right and get them out there. So, all right, we move on. I'll go back to where we skipped before, just because I think we were on the Clippers. You might as well stay on the Clippers. Spurs are reaping the financial benefits of winning the draft lottery. And I don't know if you guys knew, because I found out just recently too. He's obviously a Frenchman. Spurs got the first pick. The Spurs are the top team in France. That's the team that everybody roots for in France. I don't know if everybody knows why, but it's because of Tony Parker. Yeah, is why he was such a huge part of that Spurs.
They might want to let them know though that he's been gone for
quite a while, but they still love that. They still love
not there anymore, guys. Like, just saying.
They still love themselves some Spurs there in France. But so like it almost makes you think, is this some home cooking by the league doing this? Like, did they help? But I don't think so. But you never know. Like there was rumors that the NHL draft lottery was a little tainted too. If you've ever heard about those rumors. But anyway, so but yeah, they were up well past midnight. Spurs staff was up well past midnight on Tuesday due to handling all the new season ticket requests. So people, as soon as that was already over with, the draft lottery, they were already getting their season tickets. Is it going to be that good that soon, Nigel?
Don't listen. You're not putting that on me, bro. Like the things I've heard from some other pods that I've listened to and some other commentators and some other like NBA insiders, the trajectory for this kid is wild. Like it is through the roof. Like one of these things. I heard, quote unquote, that he will be the best NBA player by his third year.
Windhorst. I heard Windhorst say that same thing.
Right?
But you think he'll be the best offensive player and defensive player by the third year of the league?
It is bananas the amount of pressure that we've already put not on this kid, because I don't know how much of it he's taking in or how much they're letting him ingest, but just that we're putting out into the ether, or just that the sports world, the NBA aficionados are putting out there in the world about this kid. This is my hope. My hope is that he gets drafted number 1. Let's get that over with. You already know. And also the NBA drafts now are super boring because it's so predictable. We talk about it to death until that happens. Then you get and they do exactly what's predicted, and it's really boring. Anyways, great. He gets number 1. Spurs love him. Community loves him. I hope that he has a ridiculously awesome first season. And I hope that he doesn't have like any injuries, obviously, but like maybe a sophomore slump, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? A lot of times it happens, and then like just up and up from there. Like I just hope the best for this kid. Mm-hmm. But like some of the comments on just how on where he's gonna be and stuff. It's the guy hasn't even done anything yet. What has he done?
But I'll tell you what, with that, I'd be scared because that frame just looks like he's going to get hurt. And I know we talked about on Wednesday, me and Caleb, we were saying, you know what, first thing that the Spurs need to do is send him to New Orleans to go hang out with Zion and get some beignets.
You know what? I'm going to push back against that because I made that judgment call against KD when I watched him play at Texas.
Yeah,
I was like, there's no way. I was like, there's no way this this tall, spindly kid is gonna make it in the NBA. I was like, there's no way. I was like,
he's built like Kramer from Seinfeld. This is too tall and gangly. There's no way. He's got no way. And you know what? He's still built the same way.
Yeah,
he's
I know.
I know.
I was like, yeah, this little pickle Rick guy is gonna be running around easy. I was like, get out of here, man. There's no way. And how many champions? He's got three rings.
Yeah. Two.
2, yeah. I mean, he's fine. He's fine. He's gonna go to the Hall of Fame. Like he's fine. But I just didn't think he was gonna make it. Yeah. What do we got?
There you go. January 4th. Is that? No, you're the third, right?
I'm second.
Oh, the second. All right. Yeah. Caleb is the third. Caleb's the third,
and
Allie's the 5th.
Yeah.
I'm November 4th, so that's
there. It is.
I'm like on that Monday show. I'm the only one that's left out. I'm not the Capricorn. Everyone else is Capricorn. Not only all Capricorns, you're all like a day apart.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's got the build. But I'd be so scared that he's going to get hurt. Look at Chet Holmgren last year, right? Chet Holmgren couldn't make it to the regular season. They're very similar build wise. Him and Wemby's even taller. What's Chet Holmgren, like 7'1", I think?
Oh, I don't know.
I think he's like 7'1". Wemby's like 7'5". Yeah. So I don't know, man. I personally think that
Wemby's 7'2".
Oh, is he projected to still grow? Why did I think it was 7'5"? I heard someone saying 7'5".
Yeah, 7'2".
Is that right? Because I could have sworn I heard Windhorst saying he's 7'5".
I don't know.
7'5".
Windhorst is an idiot anyway. He always created a LeBron James. Wendy. So. Who heard of Windhorst before LeBron James, right? He followed around all through high school. All right. Anyway, I apologize, Windhorst. You're great at what you do. You're on ESPN. I'm not. So. Sixers point guard James Harden has been pinpointed by Doc Rivers staffers as a key behind-the-scenes factor in this is a long headline, in the ex-head coach's departure from the team. Do we think this is just BS, or do we think there's any truth to this?
Who knows, right? Who knows, man? Anybody can say anything. Yeah. Like, really?
I think it's BS, and I'll tell you why. There's so many rumors that he's leaving to go back to Houston anyway.
Yeah.
If you're Philly, you're going to – and for a guy that scored 9 points in Game 7 for you, 9 points in Game 7 for you, you're going to pin what you want to do with your coach based on what Harden thinks. You scored 9 points for me, which has nothing to do with the coach at that point. Yeah. You scored 9 points for me in Game 7. I'm going to change my coach because you aren't happy. I honestly think it's BS. I don't think it's – I think I'm not saying it didn't – I'm not saying it's not coming from actual Doc Rivers people, but I think if it is coming from Doc Rivers people, I'm saying – pipe down, because I don't think Philly management listened to James Harden about their opinion of Doc Rivers.
Yeah, I don't know if he really has that kind of pull.
Now he didn't really give him too much credit at the end of that game when they said, "How was your relationship with Doc Rivers?" And he says it's okay. He didn't really go into too much about how good the relationship was. But I personally don't think this is accurate. Now again, staffers may have said something. I don't think this had anything to do with why. I don't think why he was let go. Nigel, what do you think?
No, listen, I'm going to pass it. I'm going to hand it off to Joy because I think we're thinking the exact same thing. So, Joy, whatever your thoughts are, because I can feel it brewing. Hit us.
I mean, if Rivers staffers are saying this, if they already know there's some disdain between the two, it's easy to just spit that out there and kind of let it run because it'll run. Because everybody knows, especially when you just said the way he answered that question, everybody knows it's kind of not probably the best. So if you spit that out there, they know it'll gain some traction. And it could be just for the hell of doing it. I mean, I don't know, but like I said, me personally, I don't think he has that kind of. Well, maybe he did say something. I don't know if that's the reason.
He may have at one point in his career. I just don't think he has that anymore.
No, that's my opinion. But again, you know that there's some disdain there. You could just throw that out there if you want. Make it look like, oh, we're the victims. I don't.
Yeah.
Listen,
Embiid says something, then that's saying something, right? Like if Embiid says, listen, I think we need a new voice. I think the reason why Doc's not there anymore is because he's gotten 10 game 7 losses or something like that. Whatever it is, he doubles whatever the second guy is number 2, he doubles in it and how many game 7 losses he has for a coach. I think that's why he's not there anymore. I think they realize, okay, we've gotten as far as we can with Doc Rivers, and this is about as far as we can go. We now need a new voice in this locker room. And I think that is the reason why he got moved.
Yeah, 97%. It
would make sense.
But they're still saying there's a chance.
I know. I'm saying there's the 3% chance. My math is horrible. 97, 8, 99. Yeah. So there's a 3% chance. It's a 3% chance that Harden may have said something. Man, sure. As I'm sure the three of us have played a sport at some level at some time, and I'm sure we've said something about our coach. You know what I mean? So I just feel like it's one of those things where, of course, Harden was just like, Doc, man, damn. And then somebody heard that and just stretched it out a little bit because it legit is, man. Doc, your numbers suck when it comes to game 7, bro. When it comes to playoffs, you just can't adjust. You're not changing what you've done in the regular season, obviously. So it's like, what can we do with you? We have the talent. We went through this process. The process is now over. We went through it, and you haven't been able to do anything different. We haven't come out Eastern Conference champions. We haven't come close. So it's like, of course, man, we got to let the guy go. The city loves you. The people love you, but we got to let you go, bro. It's the game. It's how it goes.
Yeah, I agreed.
He knows. He's been Doc's been around forever, man.
Yeah.
Listen, and I like Doc. I feel like he's a nice guy. I'd love to see him bounce back somewhere else. I know I mentioned it earlier in the earlier episodes. I'd love to see him at a place where it's a younger team. Obviously, Houston's already got a coach, so not Houston maybe, but Detroit's still looking. Maybe at least I don't believe they hired their coach yet, unless something happened within since last night. I just didn't see it. Detroit might be. I'd love to see him go to a place where he gets some younger talent, gets to kind of help coach these kids up. And Detroit's got a nice young squad for kids. Ivy's there, Durant is there, Cade Cunningham is there. They're gonna have more picks this year. That would be a good spot for him. Go bring in a guy, an established coach that you're not ready to win now anyway. I think he's gonna go to a place and help kind of establish a culture. And I don't think, unfortunately for him, I don't think he'll be there long enough to reap the benefits of the fruits of his labor. Somebody else will come in and win with that squad. But I think he's the type of guy that I'd want to at least have come in and teach my guys how to be pros. Yeah. Enough said?
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get on to some NFL news. Matt Ryan to become a broadcaster. QB open to resuming his playing career, though, for the right position. I mean, it must be nice to think you can still play, I guess, right? He's not playing anywhere, right? What would be the right position for you? Like an Aaron Rodgers thing, we're going to go to a team with a top 5 defense and some good weapons. You'd not be the guy they want to bring in there. I'm sorry. What are your thoughts, Joey?
Well, first of all, I don't know how good he's going to be as a broadcaster, so let's see how that works out. Because he might be good, he might not. I don't know.
I believe he's going to be just a studio analyst. I don't think he's actually going to call games.
Well, no. Yeah, that's what I mean. I know he's not calling games right now. They have the ex-NFL player on the side. And then they just defer to you when they want to talk about something. And then if you're good, I guess we'll have to see that goes. But I just don't see him playing anymore. I mean, it's not that he can't go out and throw a football and that he can't still play. But, I mean, dude, he's done. I don't see – unless he finds a situation – because he's not going to start anywhere. So unless they're bringing him in somewhere to help out with a rookie QB, locker room type of thing, and at that point, you might as well just be a QB's coach and work your way into coaching then. Because that's pretty much what you're going to be. He's not going to go anywhere to start. Won't even. I don't even think they would use him as a stopgap. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Because that's kind of what he was in Indianapolis. And to use
that's my point,
right? So to use the famous immortal words of Notorious B.I.G. Don't be mad. UPS is hiring. Hey, it's still the USFL and the XFL. So if you really, really want to play, bro, Don't give me he would want to play in the right situation. If you really feel like you want to play, yeah, he might be suitable in one of those over there and help some young teams as a veteran presence. Go play there then. But stop. Now again, I've seen him enough in interviews. I think he's actually going to be decent. Would he be is he going to be Tom Brady or Peyton Manning? No, but I think he'd be a decent analyst. What's your take, Nigel? Is there a spot for him somewhere on the roster?
Yeah, I'm going to stop you right there with the whole Tom Brady thing. Listen.
You don't think he'll be good?
No, I don't. I'll start with the Matt Ryan thing. He's not going to be good. And I think that Tom Brady, he's going to be even worse. There's Peyton Manning. He's a different level because it's all about your personality. I don't care how much knowledge you have, because really, and we've all seen it, boys, we watch a lot of sports, man, that charisma in between takes or let's cut to, you need that. You need that personality. You need that charisma to come across not only for the camera, but come across with your panel and come across with the stats. It all needs to be cohesive. If you don't have that energy, which Matt Ryan has to an extent, he's been a fire when he was golden Matty Ice in mid 2000, I would say 13ish, maybe a little after that, 2013 to 16, because 16 I think he was MVP. Mm-hmm. It's that's the Matty Ice. That's the guy I'd want. I don't want that guy who's fired up about things. But he's not that dude anymore, man. And like I said, Brady, as smart as he is, as brilliant as he is, 6 rings, we get it, man. He's just not – his personality is going to be too flat, I find. You know what I mean? We really need more personalities in the booth, not only to give us –
I think he's going to be good in the booth, man. I really do think – I think Brady's
we're going to find out.
Yeah.
Right?
Hopefully it's better than his Hertz commercials. So we'll just see.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
you know listen, I haven't seen them, but the fact that they're Hertz commercials, I'm out.
Well, yeah, you can't get anything better than that. But my thing is, listen, I'm not trying to compare him to Peyton, because I think
I get that.
And I love what Peyton does too, where he does it with you just kiss his ass because you prove him wrong. You try to sell him that he's wrong before. Now you kiss his ass, buddy. You know what? Peyton obviously is superior because he's got that brand of comedy too, where he's kind of goofball comedy, where it still fits, or he's still cool. We've seen him on SNL before do a great job and be funny and not just be there just because of his name. So we see what he does with his brother on the ESPN broadcast from Monday Night Football, where he still has that, where he does it's not the full broadcast. He's on the other channel doing it, where it's kind of just hanging out, watching the game. You're hanging out with him while you're watching the game. So I'm not trying to say that he'd be on that level. Matt Ryan wouldn't be on that level. I do think Tom Brady would, because of his knowledge, though. I do think Tom Brady would be really good. Now, maybe you need somebody to be a little more colorful to pair with him, and they could do the games together in that sense, and then it's okay. But I feel his knowledge supersedes any of the personality stuff. I feel like I'm going to love listening to him break down a defense on camera, in real time. That I'm excited for. Kind of like Tony Romo. Tony Romo has done that a lot. I know he had a bad year. Everyone killed him this year for it, but there was times in that first year, especially.
Year.
Yeah. But you remember that first year Tony Romo came in?
Way better than I ever thought he was going to be.
Yeah, but you remember, especially that first year. You remember that first year? People were crazy. Wow, did you hear him just break down that defense? It was like in real time. And how many times he'd say, "Oh, this is what I would do right now if I'm the offensive coordinator," and he'd call it and he'd have the play exactly down.
It was crazy.
He did it a lot in the first season that he had. So will Matt Ryan be those guys? I don't think so. I think he'll be decent. I don't think he's going to be a guy that you say, "Oh, I love watching Matt Ryan every Sunday."
You never know.
No, not at all. And I think you're right. If he does come with that Tony Romo type vibe, I'm in.
I'm saying that with Brady. I'm saying that with Brady, not with Ryan.
Zero chance with Brady. Moving on.
We're seeing those. We're seeing that black and yellow. Your black and yellow is showing a little bit. You're still a fan of the show a little bit much right now. So there you go. All right. So Jets, Carl Lawson agrees to rework deal. Not surprised there. He missed the first year. He looks like he's doing the salsa right there a little bit, right? But yeah, so we saw that he missed the year before last. Only had 7 sacks last year. Had a little bit of a down year on the year back. I'm expecting this year to be his big year. It always takes an extra year when it's those Achilles heel injuries. It always takes an extra year to come back from. So I think this year will be a better year for him personally. But we needed somebody to kind of figure something out because we got to sign Quinnen. So we need that money saved somewhere. I think this now brings us to 19 under the cap. He's responsible for bringing 12 off the books. So it gives us now 19 under the cap. I think we need a few more million to really make the Quinnen Williams deal work. I think we're going to need about 20 at least. And Anything on this guy's? Like, I mean, obviously he hasn't played up to the contract level, right? Three years, $45 million. He hasn't played like a 15-year player. Or am I wrong? Am I too much with my heart right now?
Anytime you have injuries, you're not going to play to your potential for the contract. And it's a $45 million contract. You're talking like $3 million in incentives. They're saving. You're going to restructure because they're saying, hey, you need to prove you can stay healthy and play a full season and live up to. And that's why the players generally have no issue restructuring because they're like, well, I'm still getting money. And, the big thing for the NFL players now, and most teams, but especially NFL, is the guaranteed money because you're one play away from being done. Yeah. And that's kind of the way it is. It's unfortunate that it happens to some of these players. He's a really good player. He has to stay healthy. And sometimes it's luck, or sometimes somebody's body's just not.
An Achilles. Sometimes your Achilles. Like, listen, I remember when it was Vinny Testaverde week 1 in '99, where everyone thought the Jets were going to Super Bowl that year. Week 1 against the Patriots, he's walking to the huddle, and his Achilles just pops. Yeah. So like it happens, especially with the Achilles. The Achilles is so like who knows how those things work. And so hopefully he bounces back. I think this is the year. It always takes an extra year for the bounce back. Especially nowadays. So this might be the year he hopefully does double-digit sacks, and we look at it like, wow, he might look. Hopefully after this year, he's looking at it like he was underpaid for this year. But other than that, though, I feel like this was a quality move by him and by the front office. See, there you go, right there's the contract. But no, right. This was a fair ask for him to give some money back. No.
Yeah, I think so. And you know what? I'm not like I don't know a lot about the Jets and how they're run. They always seem to be that team that. Well, the last 2 seasons, what?
The look on Gene's face as you started to say that. He's like,
"What do you mean? You're gonna learn this year. You're gonna learn this year."
I know. Well, that's what I'm getting at. This is a very long-winded comment for me to say. Like, I will be paying a little bit more attention to your Jets by proxy, because I'm curious to see how they do manage, because the last couple seasons they've always been on the cusp and then they kind of just fall away or petered out, but they've always been in the games. Last year they've been in some games, man, where it's shocking to see who shows up, and they showed up a lot of the time. So I'm really interested. And now, I mean, y'all got so we'll see how it goes.
So all right, so on to the next. Carson Wentz generating interest. I feel like if there's fake news in the NFL, this is the fakest news ever of all the fake news. If you're a team, he's got no chance of being a starter anymore, right, Joey?
I don't.
Like, where could he start? Could he even start anywhere?
I don't listen. Believe it or not, there was talk. The funny thing is, a couple of the games, the game that the Niners had against him last year, he actually played really well.
Well, that's the Niners. I mean, come on.
Number 1 defense in the NFL. I know, God forbid. Listen, everyone has an off game, but I still think he has some talent. I'm not saying he's the Carson Wentz of pre-injury when he was like lighting up the NFL and everything. But I still think
that only was like 2 years, really. I mean, it's not like, let's not say he had a long career. He only had like
I didn't say that.
Years, and then
I said he did good at first.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So and it just he's kind of a savvy. He can still play. I'm not saying he's great, but I'm saying he did have some games last year, especially when he came in and it didn't look like he was going to, because I know they were using what was it, Heineke that they were using for them? Yeah. And he was having a pretty good season, and then he had to come in. He played pretty well in a stopgap. Now, where could he go? Teams are always looking for quarterbacks. You got maybe 12 teams that have quarterbacks, and then everybody else needs to figure out what they're doing. So could he pick up somewhere? Sure. And it says generating interest. That could be his crew trying to put it out there to get some teams to
actually generate interest.
Exactly. And it happens. I mean, listen, there's a reason why you hire these PR firms. They're good at it. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But he'll get picked up somewhere. He's competent, and he's already proven to be a serviceable NFL quarterback, which are very hard to come by. They are, unfortunately. So,
Nigel, could you see him end up anywhere as a stopgap or a backup?
Yeah, like carrying on in the back end of Joey's comment there. Yeah, he's definitely a serviceable guy. He's a guy that you can, I wouldn't say count on, but he's a guy that you'd be like, if your first guy went out and he's your backup, or even like your third, he's a guy that could help try and maintain status quo and like maybe finish out a game, like maybe. So I feel like, and we all saw it. I bring this up a lot because we all saw it with San Francisco. in their towards the end of their season and then into their playoff run. So all three of their quarterbacks or two of their quarterbacks went out, man, their starter and their backup. And then like the God gave them Purdy, who ended up being like, who will probably be their starter next year, which is bananas. Yeah. But my point is like, I feel like Wentz will land somewhere, and I think he's going to land at a 2 or 3. And when he does, it's going to be with like Arizona or like.
I was just going to say Arizona.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like Arizona.
That's the perfect spot for him because they're back. The Kyler's not going to be ready, and who's their backup? I think it's Colt McCoy.
So
yeah, so you know it's Arizona. So that headline should say Carson Wentz going to Arizona. It should say that Arizona picked up by Arizona.
Yeah, Murray's not even going to be available, but they were saying to start the season. And, you know, by then, probably the new Call of Duty will be out by then. So he'll be playing some multiplayer. And, you know, Colt, he's kind of there. So you got to bring in Carson at least to, you know, learn the playbook for a little while.
Well, and Colt, how old is Colt now? He's been in the league a long time.
Dude, long time. Yeah. Come on, Patty. Give us an idea how old he is, man. He's been around.
We'll riff till you get there. Yeah, Colt McCoy, boy.
But yeah, I mean, he's been with Cleveland, Washington. I think he's been in LA for a minute, wasn't he? I mean, he's been all over the place. So
he was a 49er for a little bit,
and he was a 49er for a little bit. Yeah. So yeah. Listen, I think that his only stop at this point is going to be a backup. He'd be a good quality backup, I guess. But he's got no. I don't think there's any place for him to start anymore. I think those days are done.
Well, listen, if you don't have Kyler Murray, and this is just talking Arizona. Murray to start the season, and you got Colt McCoy. I don't know who you start. Go through training camp, OTAs, get him in there now, and see what you got through preseason. Maybe he starts until Kyler comes back. Just saying.
Yeah, but that would be good. And you never know. Listen, I'm not sold on Kyler, man. So like,
no, Murray's he's all over the place, man. I thought he was an awesome talent, but he's been falling off the last couple of years.
Don't get me wrong. When the play breaks, like when the play breaks down, don't worry. He's about as exciting as it gets when the play breaks down.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I feel like that's as good as he gets is when the play breaks down and he makes something good happen. Other than that, I just don't feel comfortable in him being my everyday quarterback. To be honest with you,
Justin Fields to me is now that guy.
Yeah.
But I think Justin Fields. He's got some size to him, so he's gonna be better. You know,
he's a lot better.
So there's that. All right. We move on to our last thing, and this one's for Nigel, right? Steelers to extend Mitch Trubisky.
There you go.
How do you feel about that? You want him back, right? Well, that's not the right guy. But
yeah, that was small hands, wasn't
it? That was Kenny Pickett. Nice try, Patty.
Mitch Trubisky. Yeah, listen, man. I as much as I want to extend this this piece, I don't need to. It's a no-brainer, to be honest with you. It's like he's good for us right now. I don't know how else to say it or be more polite about it. It kind of is what it is, man. You know, Joey mentioned it earlier. About 13 teams have quarterbacks, and the rest just are trying to figure it out. And this is the point where we're trying to figure it out now. He had a rough outing. I mean, he started for us last season, and things just kind of went downhill. But there's a lot more. He did get punched in
the face too, I think, in the locker room. Did he get punched in the face at halftime?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. But my point is like there's a lot more things going on than just him. It wasn't like our offensive line was tough and we were running the ball too much. Like there was just a lot of things happening, so we didn't set him up completely for success that we could have. Now again, he's not the starter. I know that, and I'm not trying to push him as the starter, but I am trying to push that. This is a good move to keep him for another couple of years, to extend him, because why not? He is one of those quarterbacks that will keep the game running and keep us in it if push comes to shove, for sure. I have no doubt about it. But he's just not a starter anymore. He's just not our guy.
No, not at all. But again, I think you guys are in good hands with Kenny Pickett. I think Kenny Pickett's gonna, he's not an overnight success. He's gonna take a couple of years to develop. But again, I think you guys have a guy that you can feel comfortable with in the future.
Absolutely. And again, the reason why why Steeler Nation is so still like on board with him is because we know that our O-line needed some work, and we know that there's a lot of other things happening. And so when Pickett had a lot of time or had time to show us what he had, it was fantastic and it got exciting. It just wasn't consistent enough because the whole offense was in a really dark, really bad place.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
and Listen, I forget who it was, but there was rumors that came out of last year that during one of the halftimes, that Trubisky got into a fight with one of the receivers, and one of the receivers punched him in the face.
Maybe he did.
So is it ringing a bell now?
Yeah, I kind of feel like that was just before they ended up putting Pickett in. I think
it was.
I think it was like week 4 or something.
I think Pickett ended up starting the second. It could have been against the Jets, maybe, where he came in the second half.
Something like that, man. It's starting to ring a little bit of a bell, to be honest with you. Yeah. I can't remember.
But man, that's guys, that's gonna do it for today's show, man. Good stuff. Our getaway day, and what do you guys got planned for the weekend? Anything good?
Nigel?
I'm gonna hang out with some family. Hang out with a good friend of mine, one of my boys. I haven't seen him in some time, so I know I'm gonna go up there and hang out with him. He's about 35 minutes outside the city, so I'll go hang with him. I'm gonna keep things pretty low key and just like I said, I just came back from a trip, so I'm gonna like chill out and hang out with my pops and just
Deontay Johnson.
That's
right. Yeah.
Punch him in the face because giving the ball.
Hey, you gotta get the ball enough, otherwise get punched in the mouth.
Yeah. So yeah, man, I'm gonna keep it pretty low key, pretty local, and hang out. What about you, Joey? What are you doing?
Well, unfortunately, right now I've been studying like crazy. I have a test coming up in a couple weeks, so that's kind of what I've been doing. Gene knows it's like every waking minute. That's all I've been doing. Outside of that, like family, huh?
What are you in school
for?
No,
it's not school. It's for my job. It's for my job. It's to get promoted to another position.
Awesome.
That's pretty much Awesome. So. But outside of that, actually, fun stuff. Even though it's been 950 degrees here in Miami, I think we might try to. Yeah, we might try to go to the zoo, which is my son loves the zoo, so we might do that on tomorrow. The pool, go to my dad's house. They got a big pool over there. Try to get out of the heat a little bit. Yeah. And me and my son are big into RC cars. I might get to do that a bit, which is fun. I got boats, cars, all kinds of stuff. So. Just kill time this weekend. And then of course, I'm big into which some may not know, I'm huge into racing. I was supposed to be a race car driver. I was not supposed to be anything else. So I went to race schools and stuff when I was younger. I do sim racing and this crazy rig behind me. But so I'll be watching NASCAR and Formula 1 and all that stuff that usually every weekend if I get a chance. That's it.
Nice.
All right. Well,
yeah.
I'm just gonna wait till Monday. I'll see you guys Monday. I got nothing going on this weekend but some work, man. I got some work to do, and then we got a new kitten in the house. We got a brand new kitten. He's only like 3 weeks old. Her name is Winnie. So
there you go.
There you go, Patty. We got a brand new kitten in the house.
Stop bringing in the strays, bud. Like, you can't save them all.
She was this big. She's only about 3 weeks. So we got the vet this weekend with her. So we found her like 2 days ago. So shout out to Winnie, our newest addition to the family. And other than that, man, I'm going to rest. I'm going to prep for Monday's show.
There you go.
And then I'll see you. I know you guys you said you got a holiday on Monday, right?
Yeah, we got a holiday up here on Monday. Yeah. So
I don't know if Nigel will be back Monday. We'll find out, I guess. Yeah. Stay tuned. There's the tease. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
And find out if Nigel will be here on Monday. But yeah, guys, you know what? That should do it. So last nerds, Nigel.
Everybody be safe, enjoy your weekend, and have a rum and coke for a brother,
There you go, rum and coke. Joey, last words.
Yeah, man, be safe, enjoy yourself, and more importantly, tell somebody you love them.
Nice. There you go. And guys, my thing is, as always, have a great today, a better weekend, and we will see you guys on Monday. Bra.
Peace.
That's the pop off for today, folks. Thank you to all of our listeners, as well as our producers, Patty Puddles and Fareed Kameo. And make sure you tune in tomorrow to hear what these hooligans will pop off about next.